I'm Lewis Crampton, I'm 21 years old, I ride for District and Eagle, and I started riding as a complete accident. Me and my friend Mitch, we were bored. At the time my brother was riding scooters with his friends in the car park across the road, and we were like, let's do it, let's try it. So went to the garage, we took a couple of scooters out. On the way to the car park, got to the bottom of the driveway, went across the road and bang. Next thing I knew, I was on the road. Mitch was already running inside. I'm laid there and my ankle's completely sideways. The car that hit me, the passenger door opened and the woman looked out. I remember this door opening over the top of me and she looked down and she was just like, there's a kid. I was there and I was fine. There was no blood anywhere. I wasn't in pain, I was alright. I remember asking my mum to straighten my ankle a bit and she said we should wait for the paramedics. A few minutes later there was like 2 ambulances came. Everyone came out of the house and was looking at it like pretty horrified, but I still didn't get it. I didn't know what was happening. And I remember actually they told me they had to cut my trousers off, at which time they were my favourites, so I was furious. There was a lot of talking. I was on the road for 2 hours just next to this car. I was still okay. I was really tired. I mean, my eyelids were getting really heavy and I was falling asleep and I was told not to. They were like, stay awake. Kept putting a mask on me with morphine. They put me in the ambulance eventually and went to hospital. Apparently there was blood everywhere. I don't know why I didn't see any of it. They asked my dad to clean my blood off the road. Because what was happening, I was passing out from blood loss, which I wasn't aware of. I just thought I was tired. I mean, my dad stayed at home with my brothers and I was in hospital and he was cleaning his son's blood off the road without actually knowing what was happening to his kid. And I remember waking up as we arrived into theatre and there were, I don't know, 10 or 15 like nurses in the room. They just looked shocked. Everyone was just shocked about it. What had actually happened was the wheel arch had cut straight through my leg and like almost amputated it there and then. The only part that was still intact was my Achilles tendon, and that's why I was on the road for so long, because they spent like 2 hours trying to work out how to move me without my foot literally just dropping off. It was 8 or 9 hours in theatre the first time. The risk of infection with such a big flesh wound was so high and they had to amputate it, is what they were saying. The doctor I was fortunate enough to get, Mr. Grant, he decided that an 11-year-old shouldn't have his leg cut off so early, especially at the time when I was such a active kid. After 8 hours of surgery, I came out, I had a leg, but he told me that I was never going to walk again. I ended up staying in hospital for 3 weeks. I had 5 operations in that time and it was just constant medication all the time. And after another month the bones started actually going towards each other because there was such a big gap from the break. It started healing. And then they started considering physiotherapy. Learning to walk again sucks, but I was slowly learning to put pressure on it. This was like 6 months after the accident. I was still on crutches, I was still in a wheelchair. I still couldn't do what I wanted to do. So I got the scooter out and I started using the scooter to move around on. I was putting my bad leg on the scooter and pushing with the good one. And it was helping me to learn to put pressure on this foot. It was helping the bones join together and it was a lot more fun for me because I wasn't on crutches all the time. 40 weeks after the accident, the bones had finally come back together. They told me that it's already enough for a miracle that I can walk again. I should be grateful for it, but I'll never do sport. I'll never kick a football again. I'll never run or do any contact sports, but I don't know, I was 11, fuck that. I wanted to do my own shit. I wanted to get out and do stuff. I didn't want to sit inside all the time. I didn't want to just play on the computer for the rest of my life. I was enjoying being on a scooter. I liked going everywhere on it. Went to the skate park on it and I was like, yeah, this works. I was that scooter kid for a few years. About 2 years later I discovered that other people actually did stuff on scooters. I was online, came across the Scooter Resource Forum. I came across Jesse Macaluso's video, Matt Andrus, Matt Ogle, Danny Warwick. I'd watch those videos like religiously. I'd go to the park, I'd mix the BMX and scooter things I'd seen, I don't know, have fun with it. Found this forum, the UK section on SR. Everyone was doing meetups and stuff. I went to one, there's one at Corby, and Terry fucking Price was going to be there. So I was like, you know what, I know Terry Price, I've seen his video. It was strange because, I mean, going to Corby and seeing 10 or 15 people on scooters in the same place. It was weird. You'd go to a skate park anywhere else, and if you happened to see another kid on a scooter, you were just instantly best friends because no one else did it. Eventually, I moved nearer to Graham, started making videos together and stuff like that. 2010, I joined Razor and went on what is still probably the best trip of my life, which was the Madden Razor UK Summer Tour, which was done by Dog Scooters, and it was strange. You'd gone from begging your dad for a lift to a skate park to being paid to go around the country with your best friend. So with these tours and going everywhere, I start riding a lot more, which means I start noticing the actual damage caused to my leg a lot more. I mean, I've got no movement in my ankle, my knees don't work. If I ever did like a stair set, or I bailed from some air trick, it was just really painful, so I just kind of shied away from that side. I didn't want to make it worse. I was always warned by the doctor, like, the problems with the leg could come back at any point. The worry was if the bones had fused together at some point, the more damage I did to it, the more of a problem it would become. So I shied away from it. I started doing more technical stuff. I mean, it was painful anyway, and it still is, but I enjoyed it, so fuck it. Graham and I had an idea about making scooter parts and stuff come 2011. So we made some pegs, called them Union pegs. The Union name carried on. We gave up on pegs, but we started making clothes. Union, 2012, we started making sweet as fuck clothes, which recently came to an end because we've got no time. Union, I don't know, it made a cool transition because it went from travelling miles to meet up with people to getting sponsored and getting some free stuff to making the free stuff and sponsoring people. It was cool to be a part of what like had got me stoked when I was younger. I don't know, we just kept going to Botsford making stupid shit. Razor, at least in the UK, started fading out a bit. One of my friends in Spain, Karim, donated me his old district deck. The first time I rode it, I got used to it, I loved it like straight away. I made some video with that deck and everyone had commented how much it suited me. So I got in contact with District and they offered me a spot on Eagle and I was stoked. I was like, yeah, sweet. After all that got organised, they were like, oh wait, you don't have a deck sponsor? I was like, no. Offered me a spot on District. It was crazy, 2014 was such a good year. And I'd been asked to be the director of my local indoor park in Grimsby. It was cool because we'd never had an indoor park in our area, and it's by the seaside, so the weather's terrible. And inside Ghetto Park there are tons of rooms that aren't being used anymore. Like, we found a storeroom which had been flooded at some point. It was super mouldy, and we decided why not turn it into a scooter shop. So opened my shop, Heretic, which is something we'd always dreamed about when we were younger. Like, imagine there being a walk-in shop in England somewhere. And then at the start of 2015, District asked me to be on the pro team. It was such a surreal thing. I got a phone call from the manager and he told me they were moving me at the start of the year to the pro team. And suddenly, I'm doing what I love to do as a job, and it's crazy. It's just surreal. It couldn't get any better. I was fucking stoked. I was the happiest guy ever. I was doing what I love to do with people that I looked up to and having more fun than I ever imagined. I'm still riding all the time, but the problems aren't going away. I had an x-ray, and it turns out after this long my tibia and fibula have almost completely fused. They can't flex like they usually should, and it's just going to keep getting worse. I'm probably going to need surgery at some point, but I'm grateful for whatever time I get on a scooter, whatever time I've had. I shouldn't even have a foot to have a problem with. What was at the time an awful period for me and my family ended up being the start to this amazing life that I've ended up with. I've been around the world, I've seen tons of countries, I've been to amazing places and met crazy people who I never would have had the reason to otherwise. I wouldn't change a thing about what happened. could list off cliches, but really it's just a big thanks to everybody, like anybody who's been a part of my time up to now and in the future. And most of all, it's a big thanks to Mr. Grant, who decided against cutting my leg off against all odds. I owe him everything. I mean, none of it would have been possible without him. So, thank you.